Welcome back to Healing Reflections, where we have conversations about growth and restoration. I'm Michaelia Nobles, and joining me again is Dr. Lauren Pitts-Bounds. Thank you so much for coming back. She comes back every week, but it's still just a great time for her to be here because we be learning so much every time you come here. I'm telling you. I don't know, y'all be getting some good gems this season, But today we have another great conversation. In honors, we just closed out Black History Month, but in honor of Women's Month this month, we're gonna talk about women healing. We're gonna go into deeper dives of the strong women pressure, just talk about self-identity, get a little bit more about some mental health. But I wanna give you a time to welcome you back and say your piece.
Thank you for having me back. It's a joy to be here. It's a joy to share this information. It's an honor and a privilege to be able to contribute to the healing journey of the student body at UTA and whomever else may be listening based on your podcast and what have you. So thank you for having me back.
Thank you. Listen, it's been an honor sitting here and just talking with you because like I said, every time we have a conversation, I always take back notes and then throughout the week, I'm like, you know what? We sure did have a conversation about it. It just keeps me more excited because the more we talk about, the more ideas and more topics come to my mind. Like, we could talk about this, let's go into that. But we're going to go ahead because, you know, we can talk and we can go sidetrack. But let's jump into the first thing, the strong women. As women in general, especially women of color, we are told that we have to be strong. Society has made us feel like we cannot take a break, especially colored women. You know, we were built up on a strong foundation. Women had to carry a lot, especially our ancestors, they went through so much. So when you are taking on new clients or just having conversations in general, what comes to your mind when you hear that, oh, I have to be strong?
No, you don't. That's a cognitive distortion. Every human being has a capacity. And part of what opens the door for the onset of mental illness and mental health challenges and relationship fractures is people being superheroes, particularly women of color, not understanding that you are one human being and you cannot be all things to everybody. You're not Jesus. You're not God. You're not the Holy Spirit. You're not Wonder Woman. You're not fill in the blank. You are one human being, and you must remember that you teach people how to treat you. So if you keep showing up as a superhero, people are going to keep treating you like a superhero. But I have one very simple question, Michaelia. How's that working out for you?
That's a hard question. That's really a hard question. And just to ask, like, I've had that too, like feeling like I have to be strong. And it's like now where I'm at in my life, it's like I'm okay with like letting things fall apart because like you said, how's that going? It wasn't going well for me. And I'm being honest, it wasn't going well for me. Me being the strong person and being like the person everybody depends on, everybody counts on, I have to show up for them. But yet when I'm struggling, I'm suffering, there's nobody showing up for me.
How about that?
There's nobody there to catch me when I'm falling and I'm feeling like I'm like, but here I am diving to catch you. And I feel like women especially, like because of our background, not just Black women, but women in general, I find this, I hear it in different ways, just like, oh, well, I have to do this. I have to, like, well, like you said, why? How's that going for you? It's not going well. And I feel like, what do you feel as the fear why women are so, like that pressure, like we have to be strong and the fear of being weak?
There's a bunch of different reasons. You know, the first one that comes to mind is the fear of failure. You know, the fear of failure, fear of abandonment, fear of rejection. So many people are looking for external validation. They are actually defining their worth by what they do for other people, right? But then they get angry when it's not reciprocated. So I say, well, are you really doing it out of the kindness of your heart, or are you doing it because you want reciprocation? So you have to look at your motives too, right? That's a big part of it. But the bottom line is that if you don't take proper care of yourself, if you don't put your oxygen mask on first in life, right? You're, in the grand scheme of things, you're not doing anybody any good in the long term. The other thing that you have to think about too is when you're going above and beyond like that, are you enabling people or are you empowering them? You know, there's an old saying, and I might mess it up, but it's like, you know, you can give a person a fish if they're hungry, or you can teach them how to fish and they'll never be hungry again. So you're doing everything for everybody. You're teaching them how to be dependent upon you rather than empowering them regarding how to stand on their own 2 feet. So then you must ask yourself, am I doing this for them or am I doing this for me? And that's a hard look in the mirror question that women need to ask themselves. But I think for some, if they genuinely and sincerely evaluate their motives, they'll find that I'm not doing all of these things for all of these people because I love them and care about them. I'm doing all these things because I'm getting something out of it. And in a lot of cases, I'm hoping that whatever that is will be reciprocated, and a lot of times it's not. So then you're angry, but you've taught people basically how to use you up.
You said so many things, and then you talked about something that strikes with me, the dependency. And that's something that I struggled with, like people depending on me too much. And I feel, you know, you had me have to go back and look, and you said so many things, like going back and looking at your motives. Right. And even when your motives you're doing it for the right reasons. You're doing it because this is what you want to do. But I also feel like people also see that, and they don't want to separate you from what you're doing. And I feel like that makes women feel more obligated. I'm just speaking for me, like how I felt. I felt more obligated to do it because now I see that you're depending on me. But now that I'm like now starting to set boundaries, like, hey, I need me too. And that's something I feel like women are scared to say. And I had to learn that the hard way many times. Like, you know, some people's like, you fall, you pick the baby back up, dust them off, keep going, but then you keep falling. But then after like the 5th, 10th time I done failed and bumped my head, I'm like, listen, I need me too.
Yes.
And I feel like we get told we're selfish. We get, oh, you don't care about nobody. All the stigmas that comes in when you say the word no. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna commit. I need a break. Now it's just, oh, you didn't want to do it, no way. So how, and this was transitioning to like, you know, well, mama did it. Grandma did it, Amy did it. So it's the generational patterns of this is what a strong woman looks like to me. So now you're portraying what your grandmama, Amy mama did, but you burnt out just as much as they were burnt out. So the results don't change. But how do you feel women should move around that? Or have you seen that? How do you address it?
So the answer to the question is, yes, I've seen it. I'm going to tell you how I address it. And yes, it is a multi-generational issue. And what I want to challenge our audience to consider is the difference between a strong woman versus a woman of strength. A strong woman is the superhero. She has to be all things to everybody. She's got to dot the I's and cross the T's. She has to be a control freak because she's the only one that could possibly do it the right way. Go figure. You know, if they have to be able to count on me because I'm the only one that's not going to drop the ball. Whereas a woman of strength says, I'm human and I have needs too. And I love you and I care about you, but rather than enable you, I'm going to empower you. I'm going to teach you how to fish and not just feed you all the time. I'm not going to allow you to go hungry because I'm going to teach you how to fish. I'm going to teach you how to operate as if I were not here. You know how many women have gone to early graves and left their families and their friends and their employers devastated because they were superheroes, whereas if they had flipped that and embodied what it means to be a woman of strength and taught people, think of it like a protege, mentor relationship, right? I can teach you how to dot I's and cross T's and how to be a much more efficient version of yourself rather than doing everything for you all the time. So how I address that is I elevate perspective. I encourage women to go up to what I call the balcony of life and look at, are you really helping them or are you crippling them? Are you enabling them or are you empowering them? And again, what's the motives for your behavior? And let's look at the worst case scenario. What will happen if you don't do this? And if it's not life or death, Yeah, it might come with some discomfort, but life is full of discomfort.
Right.
Let folks feel some discomfort. You're feeling it all day, every day, trying to be a superhero.
Yes.
So stop. Stop.
It's okay. And ooh, that was right there. Like I had to learn that. Like when you see that stop and you keep like your brakes. I think about when you're driving your car and you getting too close to the car. You know how now all the cars are like, you know, a smart
They auto
car.
stop.
They stop you, the emergency brake, because you got too close.
Right.
So I feel like with me personally, I had got so close to the end, and it was like life was like stop. Not even say life. God was like stop. Like you're
doing too much.
Stop. And it's just when you think about that worst case scenario, and I feel like with women, for women and just for me, it was the what they're gonna say. Some people are so concerned with what people are gonna say about you, and this is real. Like even with young people, especially like in my generation, we're so concerned with what are they gonna say about me when I do say no. How are they gonna see me? Is this gonna make our relationship? And like we said last time, I could do bad all by myself. I've walked away from plenty of people because my boundaries were constantly being crossed. And I feel like you got to get to the point where you're okay with walking away.
Absolutely.
You have to be okay with that because what happens to you? Life still got to go on. They got to learn to do it anyway. So like you said, teach them how to do it. Teach them how to fish.
Correct.
So that way you're not enabling them. But with that's such a strong, powerful thing where you said teaching them. Some people don't want to be taught.
Okay, so then they shouldn't be your burden. And that, I want to circle back for a moment to what you said at the very beginning of the show. The problem, Michaelia, that so many women run into is because of that fear of abandonment, because of the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, they stay in intimate connections, whether it be with a partner or family members or what have you. I'm not suggesting you have to cut people off. I'm suggesting you have to reevaluate the amount of intimate access you give people. You can't help who you hang on the family tree with, but just because we are on a family tree and we have branches in common does not mean that you get to mule me. It doesn't mean that you get to wipe your muddy feet on me and treat me any type of way because we're related. That's teaching people how to treat you in a way that you don't want to be treated. And I want to address something that you asked in the beginning that I didn't address. When people start saying, well, you know, you think you this and you think you that and you think you the other, take a step back for a minute and really think about that. When you're muling me and I'm exhausted because I'm doing everything under the sun that you ideally really could be doing yourself, it's all good. When I'm running myself to death, when I'm burning up my gas, when you're eating up all my food, when you're treating me like a dog, and I keep forgiving you and forgiving you and forgiving you, oh, we cool. But the moment that I put the brakes on, put a firm boundary in place and say, I'm not tolerating this anymore, oh, now I think I'm better than you? Oh, now I think I'm this, and now I think I'm that, and you so this, that, and the other, and you done started therapy, and now you, stop playing. Stop it, I say. Stop. So basically what that's communicating to you is you have people in your life, some of which may be family members, that are okay treating you in less than desirable ways. And that is not okay. People who genuinely and sincerely love you and care about you and want God's absolute best for you will not put conditions on you based upon you allowing them to mistreat you. Love is not transactional.
Right.
Love is not an intellectual exercise. So you only love me and want to deal with me if I'm doing what you tell me to do. Make that make sense? We're not doing that. No. Stop it.
Exactly. And it doesn't make sense. And you said so many things which is going to ease us into this next transition because, like you said, some women are tied to, their identity is tied to what they do. And it's hard for them to see themselves how God sees them because they're so tired of what this person thinks about them. Oh, in this person's eyes, you are Superwoman. You save the day all the time. And if you don't save the day, oh, it's doomsday. To this person, you're the strong one, the one they can lean and depend on, the one, and like, again, when you are struggling, when you need something, there's nobody there to catch you. And I say that because that was me. When I was suffering, when I felt like I was drowning. I mean, I did have people that were, you know, that did care, and that was like, you know, they're trying to, like, they was throwing the lifeline, like, hey, we're here for you. We're trying to lift you up. But it's the people that you do so much for. It's the people that you always there for. You look for them. You would like, as much as I do, you should be the first person to come. But they're not. And you, like I said, you fall with that disappointment. But people can't separate you from what you do.
They can, they just choose not to. It's a choice. Everything in life, Michaelia, is a choice. People will do what you allow them to do. It's that simple. And it's not necessarily coming from a place of malice. It's not that people are consciously trying to use you up and kick you around like a tin can. But you have trained them. You have conditioned them to use you up. And they're not going to change until you change. But here's where it gets deep. In order to modify the behavior, in order to break the core negative interaction patterns in your life, you have to look in the mirror and identify with who you really are. Because how you identify is informing how you relate to people. It's informing what you tolerate and what you don't tolerate. It's informing whether or not you put healthy boundaries in place, or you have porous boundaries or no boundaries. So it starts with your identity. Does that make sense?
It does.
When you identify as someone who is worthy of being treated with honor and decency and respect and consideration, you require that. And if people in your life don't want to honor that, why are you giving them intimate access to keep hurting you? Hello.
Listen, that's key. It's like it starts with your idea, and it brought to mind the conversation we had last week when you were giving us the tool about the litmus test. If you do that test, if you use that tool, you find your negotiables and what your non-negotiables and your deal breakers are.
Yes.
And when you emphasize that, that's where you find your worth.
Yeah.
Because then you going through the hard parts, and then when you see what you require, and then you see what you don't like, there's an emotion, there's something attached to what you don't like and why you don't like it. It starts with you.
That's right.
But you got to do the work. It's not easy.
Right.
But like I said, it's hard. It's hard for women. And like I say, people can do it, but they just don't want to do it. And I feel like women, you know, we're always told we're too emotional. We have all this stuff going on, which I don't like that stigma, because everybody has emotions.
Correct.
There's no gender that is emotionally higher than the other. I do not believe that. I feel like we're all, now how we choose to process it, things
Correct.
are different, which I want to go into processing. We're told we have to get over it real quick. We're told that, oh, you're harboring on it too much. And this goes into, we're leading into the therapy piece, and where faith comes into play. I've heard it before. The stigma that faith and therapy don't go together. And I hear that, oh, you're processing it, but you didn't forgive them. So you being a woman of faith,
Yes.
and you being a counselor, how do you address those stereotypes?
So I'm the queen of blow a stereotype up, and I'll try to make this brief, but you know, I see therapy like insulin for the mind. If you are having health issues and someone that loves you and cares about you says, you know, you've been really sluggish lately, you're drinking a lot of fluids, like you need to go to the doctors and have a physical. You go to the doctors, have a physical, and they tell you that you have diabetes, right? And the next steps are, oh, by the way, you're insulin dependent, right? And what we know to be true about diabetes is if you don't do what you need to do to regulate your diabetes, not only will it kill you, it can adversely impact literally every other area of your life. It can impact your heart, your lungs, your limbs. Like diabetes is real. It can destroy your body, right? Are you gonna not take the insulin? Your average person with the sense that God gave them is going to take the insulin. They're going to do what they need to do, particularly if weight is an issue. They're going to put a regimen in to lose weight. They're going to monitor with the food that they're taking into their body. All of these protective measures they're going to put in place. Therapy isn't about being crazy. Therapy is about insulin for your mind. It is a protective measure. It is a contributing health factor that can help you to maintain sound mind. It can help you to regulate your emotions. It can help you to understand the root of your problems that have you behaving in all of these unhealthy ways. So you have to be able to address that. The role that faith plays is simple. Faith without works is dead. Works is an action word. Are you gonna do something? And it's, you know, and I think I touched on this the very first episode we did, that the little thing that used to float around on social media about the man that was drowning. And somebody threw him a life jacket. And he was like, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. And then somebody came through in a boat. And, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. And then, you know, the National Guard came and threw a lifeline. I'm like, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. And he drowns and he goes to heaven. And he was like, Lord, I was praying for you to rescue me. And you didn't save me. I thought you loved me. Bruh, I sent you a life jacket, a boat, and the National Guard. Stop being so spiritually deep that you don't use good common sense. Faith without works is dead. And part of your works may be seeking support or assistance or guidance from someone that has the formal education, training, professional experience, and perhaps lived experience in a spiritual context that can help you to get out of your way.
Listen, like I said, I heard it. I brought it up because, like I said, I've heard it. And, you know, even with me, when I started my journey going into therapy, that was something that was told, like, oh, you should pray. And I'm like, I said, yes. I said, but I need to do some more. I said, there's something deeper. Not saying God can't get to the root. He definitely can. I said, but I need to work. I need practical. I gotta go in.
You need to hear a voice talking to you.
I gotta sit down and talk to. Because some people handle things differently, and then also you become a product of your environment. If you've seen toxic all your life, then how are you gonna be healthy? If you've been seeing bad habits, how are you gonna replace old habits with new habits if you don't know what new habits are, or you don't know the other tools that you can use to help create new habits? Because I feel like God and therapy go hand in hand. There's some things that you gonna have to go back to your prayer closet and discuss what God said. Well, God revealed this on a deeper level. This was brought up in my last session, and you take that back. And that's how I see it. Every time you go and you sit down, when you talk to your counselor, health coach, anything, what they give you is meant for you to go back and do it and work on it.
Correct.
Which is why I'm always a big advocate. I love when therapists give homework. I was like, yes, if you don't give me.
I'm the homework queen.
Listen, I love homework.
Till your face fall off. And I asked clients that in the beginning. I was like, are you okay with homework? Or you know, a reframe of that is, are you okay with between session assignments, right? Because some people don't like that word homework. I'm like, but am I in school? No. So between session assignments. But to your point, as a Christian therapist, as a faith-based therapist, there's a couple of ways that I approach that. One, I don't push my beliefs onto people, right? So I'll have clients sometimes that will ask me during the consultation, well, do you incorporate prayer if you want me to? Do you incorporate scripture if you want me to? Do you do the assignments that you give? Are they biblically based, and you know, what are the pillars that you teach from and what have you? And what I've said to folks is, I allow your needs to determine how I proceed. And I'm someone, I believe in the Holy Trinity, so I believe in the leading of the Holy Spirit. So when I'm doing the work, there's times where I literally will, because I pray for my clients. I pray for previous clients, present clients, and clients that I haven't even started working with yet. But I pray for my clients, and there's a lot of times that I will wake up and have an idea in my mind as to what I'm going to incorporate into a session with the client when I see them again. And I will suggest to a client, you know, take this, and I literally have said, take this, pray about it, and see how the Lord illuminates things for you or gives you revelation knowledge of what we discussed or what we worked on in therapy. So it's a chain link in my opinion. And, you know, to each his own. Some people don't believe in it, and that's fine. I don't try to convince people. I don't expend energy trying to encourage people to connect faith and therapy. Either you want to do the work or you don't. It's that simple. I'm not going to beg you to get help. And I'm not saying this to be facetious or disrespectful in any way. Some people can honestly say, you know, well, I've been praying about it and praying about it and praying about it. How's that working out for you? If prayer is yielding the results that you need and that you want, and you're able to get your identity healthy and get your behavior healthy, cool, keep doing that. If it's not, then maybe you should consider attaching your faith, your prayer life to a therapist that can help you to get that breakthrough that you've been trying to get, that prayer has not yielded for you.
Yes. It's definitely an important tool, and it's definitely something that in my, like, has helped change and improve my life. Like I said, as a Christian as well, I was always praying and everything I said, but I just knew, and I've been in therapy since, you know, as a child and everything, because like you go through so much as a child, and I feel like there's just some things, even if you don't experience trauma, but there's something that you need to talk to somebody about, whether it be stuff you done witnessed in your family that left you scarred, or anything that didn't traumatically do something, but it is something you've done witnessed and seen. But with me, I was like, with me being in therapy, like going off and on, but when I really started, and I'm pointing, like we said, either you're gonna do the work or you're not, because my last therapist that I had, not one before last, like when I first got back into it, like as a grown woman, because at that point I had went through too much traumatic stuff at that point, and I was like, I didn't go in there with the right perspective. I went in there, I was like, this is gonna be another session. I'm gonna just sit on the couch. He gonna ask me how I'm feeling 50 million times, and I'm gonna be mad, and I'm gonna just get up and walk out. So literally, and like, my therapist was challenging me to go deeper, because I gave like these short answers, like, I mean, I don't like the way I feel when it comes out. He was like, why? And I'm like, because I just don't like it. He's like, but what's like trying to open up that door, the root, so we can get to the root. Like, it was actually in the For Color Girls. I'm gonna quote her. I'm gonna say, but she's like, this is the scene where Tangi and Glenda were having a moment after she had overheard her mother arguing, and she's like, it makes sense why you do this, and you got to find that root to pluck it. So it made sense. Like, once I had to go through, he's like, we trying to get to this root so we can pluck it, so we can see how it can improve your life. Absolutely. But moving into it, it's very important that you do those steps. Yeah. But what are some more practical steps that women can take to beat these stereotypes, to separate who they are as a person from what they do, not falling under the strong woman pressure? What are some ways that we can break that?
I think it starts with making the decision to acknowledge that it's a problem, you know. Right. The first step to recovery is admitting that you have a problem. So the first thing is there has to be acknowledgement. And then after you acknowledge that, you know what, how I've been navigating life it's just not yielding the fruit that I want it to yield. And then make the decision to be honest with yourself. That's the second thing. Honesty is crucial when it comes to really getting in touch with who you are authentically, so that you're better equipped to modify your behavior to healthier behavior that serves you well. And then the third thing that I would say is that as you're being honest, be deliberate and intentional in identifying those behaviors that honestly haven't served you well. If I were to simplify it, I'd say take personal inventory. Take personal inventory of your behavior, of your feelings, of your relationships, right? Identify your needs. Are they being met? Who meets them? Who doesn't meet them, right? And then the fourth thing is, I definitely strongly recommend therapy. be courageous enough to acknowledge that the place and space that you're in your life at this point in time is not where you want to be from a health perspective, right? Don't get caught up in all this comparing yourself to other people or anything like that, but just from a functioning standpoint, right? I need help processing through these things, because if you already, how do I want to say this? If you were capable of doing it on your own, you would have done it by now, right? So what I tell people is, when you come to therapy at Legacy Counseling and Life Coaching, and particularly if you're working with me, one of the things that I encourage you to do is look at what has been working, what hasn't been working, and let's sort of bridge that gap, right? What is going to serve you well? Who do you want to be when you grow up? Define your dash. I'm going to teach you how to define your dash, pardon me, because defining your dash is going to be instrumental in helping you to walk in the fullness of your purpose. It will help you to break those cycles and break those stigmas. But it takes courage, Michaelia. It takes courage to step out of the uncomfortable comfort zone that you've been dwelling in.
Talking about being comfortable, being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Listen, that's a word right there. We ain't gonna go into that. But thank you so much
Absolutely.
for coming and just
Yes.
giving it. Like I said, I enjoyed this conversation because
Yes.
it's definitely, there were some areas I'm just like, okay, you don't say we don't got our tissue today. So I'm just like, let me not dive deep into that part, because
We don't have time and we don't have tissues.
we don't got no tissue today. But thank you, everyone
Yeah.
who's tuning in. I
Yes.
strongly encourage tuning in every other Wisdom to Map Media just to get the sneak peek. But also just go into my YouTube, go into my Instagram. I'm very, 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 Dr. Pitts can definitely contest, I'm very active on my social media posting the clips, because this is a very serious thing. We both share a common goal and a common desire. We want to see young people do better,
Yes.
letting them know there is a better way.
Yes.
And then for this month to let women know you are not what people say you are. You're not broken. You're not the stereotype. You can beat it. It just starts with you.
That's right.
So this month is just celebrating women and letting us know that we have better ways, we have better tools that we can use to be better and to be better women overall. But make sure, again, you tune in every other Wednesday on Mad Media to see the sneak peek. Go to the Real One TV on my YouTube to see the full interview. I'm Michaelia Nobles, and this has been Healing Reflections.